No, he's going to cost more than 35 million. I'm sure it'd be a handsome profit, but they have an appreciating asset, Brighton, do they not? Obviously, when you consider that not only him, they're going to make a decent profit on or not just Mitoma when they sell him, but you'd imagine McAllister and Caicedo, at least one of the two, are not at Brighton come the summer. Obviously, they've still got strong cash reserves because in recent years, Benjamin White's brought in 50, 20 odd for Bissouma, Cucurella 60 odd, probably a couple of other players have been sold here, there, and everywhere. So it's not like, and obviously Brighton are a well-run club, so it's not like they're broke, it's not like they're struggling, it's not like they're in issues or under any real pressure to balance the books and things. It pays to do things when you're smart, man. It is what it is. Can't lie, City and Arsenal dropping points pulls Man U back into the running, bro. Nobody's out of it, you know. Nobody's broken clear. Again, at the halfway stage of the season, if Man United obviously go and beat Leeds United twice now, and I think they got Leicester over after that, it's looking very rosy. I think in our next 4 games, Arsenal, we've got Brentford, then we go, you know, then we will. I don't even know if it's home or away, but we've got Brentford, City, Leicester City, I'm sure, and Aston Villa and Nuno Emery. So there's tough games. Nothing's decided. I mean, one thing I have liked with Arsenal is we've reacted quickly this season. And again, in the same way the players don't waffle when we've won games, you know, they enjoy the night we've won and the next day we're back on it. That's what needs to happen. Flush out of our system. We weren't good enough against Everton. We didn't do the business against Everton. They were better than us over all aspects of the field, but we need to move on. You know, when we lost to United, we went and done a thing. When we dropped points against Newcastle United, we went and reacted. When we dropped points from a winning position at St. Mary's against Southampton, we reacted. You've got to dust yourself off and go again. If we feel sorry for ourselves, we're in problems really and truly. So yeah, man. It is what it is. Love for the super chat, my guy. Hey, you're chatting crap, Marcel. You're lucky you're my guy. Could never. Not wait, say for the donation, but that ain't gonna go far. You waste, man. Why you got banter like you didn't get savaged by the wolves? I keep telling you, call the animal protectors, call pest control, because wolves, bees, eagles, all sorts of animals, Nando's, chickens, like the lot down the lane. We do this thing, man. I heard Stamford Bridge Lions got savaged as well. We're coming like Steve Irwin, RIP. Allow us, man. Home both Brentford and City. So we need to make the home form count. You know, we look at City last year, we were quality, but I look at Martinelli missing a tapping. I look at us letting ourselves down for Rodri's goal. These are the fine margins, really and truly. This is what City saw today. They didn't control the fine margins, really. You know, the City players got closer to surrounding the ref than they really did in the final third. So it is what it is. Marcel, calm yourself down, man. Like Jurgen Klopp, he's going to be Phil Mitchell come the end of the season. You know, you're not going to make him go Oktoberfest in February. Mad thing. No, I'm joking, man. But anyways, Arteta said some good things yesterday about loving the players more now after the loss. But he loves them players. You got to love them players if they're still here. But that just helps with the togetherness. In a weird way, I didn't like how, obviously, you know, Mupé, top rattler. Against Arsenal was going to pee me off, but top rattler. Everton were rattling, kicking, all these things. On one hand, I do like that we care a bit more, but on the same time, we need to keep our heads. Sometimes when you can't win, don't lose. I think we could have learned that yesterday. Sometimes there's a way in losing the game. And for me, it's just to say, it's just a fact of, a bit like City today against Spurs, you know, you've allowed a team struggling for clean sheets to get one. You've, through what you've done in the aftermath of the game and how you've played, you allowed inconsistent defenders to gain confidence. But again, you can see already what Sean Dyche is bringing to Everton, and they're going to be a different team. I've never cheered a Spurs win, but I just did. Now, I didn't cheer anything. It was a bit indifferent. Arsenal was always going to win today, and either Spurs drop points, City drop points, whatever denomination it is, well, it is. Jesus, some rumors say he'll be back end of February, beginning of March, but you know, someone like Gabriel Jesus is going to be back sooner rather than later. So you just hope he comes back when he's able and ready to really do this thing, people. Again, on that, where's my notes? It's a bit of a jar because I just read them all now. Oh, yeah, here we go. So, yeah, with that being said, let me just share my screen and offer my 2 cents on the Everton game now that we've had time to digest it. I've put some bullet points, really, people. You know, the first thing, as you can see here, I mean, what have we learned versus Everton? This is just for me. Smash the like button. Twitch can keep your opinions coming. For me, the key thing is to forget and react. What I mean by forget is take the bad from that game and obviously improve. Take the positives, if there are any, improve, and get back on it against Brentford. You know, and so on and so forth. It happens. We've dropped a maximum of 10 points this season, which in a game of fine margins, you are wishing, had we have beaten Everton, had we have performed a bit better at Old Trafford, had we have broken down a low block in Newcastle, had we have not dropped points from winning positions against Southampton, the position we'd be in. But if you told me we'd have 2 L's and what, 2 L's and 2 draws this season. You know, dropping points in 4 games out of the 19 so far. I would have bitten your hand off. Yeah, sitting here in February, I would have bitten your hand off in August to say that. So crucially, forget it and react for me. I would say on reflection, game management. I think we only looked good the real first 10 minutes of that game. I think, you know, could we have taken advantage, score a quick goal? This is a team lacking in confidence to, you know, fight in relegation. Obviously, Sean Dyche has had the week or so to train them defensively, and they're going to be a bit more of confidence because Lampard couldn't do that. Could you kind of dispel that? I didn't really like the last 20 minutes of the first half. I think the first 15, 30 minutes of the second half, ultimately, we conceded around the 60-minute mark. We were never really in it. I think it raises questions when teams still are a bit physically imposing. You know, there's issues. It is our second game we've conceded from a set piece, 2 different scenarios. I think William Saliba did well defending corners for Arsenal, but these are the things we need to do better, really. Obviously, I do think a couple of players are going off the boil a bit. Benjamin White's still my guy. Could make a case of Tomiyasu in there. I do think there's a cocktail where Martinelli's concerned of him looking a bit flat. A byproduct of Zinchenko running into midfield. There's not a consistent overlapper, and Granit isn't quite doing that how he was doing it this season. And I do think Martinelli can be a bit predictable at times. That being said, you look at Martinelli, that issue I've just risen there, coupled with that Saka 2-3 man against him. I thought our wingers out the game were in trouble, really and truly. You know, it weren't really a game. You know, the young Ukrainian lad at left back, the experienced Seamus Coleman, we didn't really put the burners on. I thought going into that game, a spring chicken like Martinelli, you get him on Seamus Coleman, you're gonna pop his hamstring. He's not gonna make the 90 minutes. So he is what it is, people. I did think if there were some positives, I would say apart from Zinchenko losing his head, I thought that was one. I think Ramsdale as well did all right with his distribution. I think Saliba and Gabriel had good games. I think our midfield is lacking a 6. On reflection, a bit like how I felt at Old Trafford when Mikel Arteta has made some changes in the middle of the park. We're struggling, really. And I felt Xhaka is probably better in the final third than Partey, but I felt Xhaka should have come off for Partey because we started getting overran a lot more, people, in my opinion. This is the issue you kind of sign up with. Going back to Old Trafford, you know, when you don't do things in the transfer market and Partey now and then they're injured, respectfully to Lokonga, you sign up for results like that kind of yesterday as well. It still shows at times, unfortunately, we can be dominated, we can be overran. We still find it tough in transitions. Defensively, we can defend a lot better, even excluding the goals, because, you know, really we should have lost the game in the first half. Clearly in the final third, even though we've improved in that, you know, we're sharing the goals out a bit more. We didn't do that yesterday. Everton kept a clean sheet. And that shows why we don't do well at Goodison Park, really. I think, as I said, Partey came off shambles. I do think there's an element of scapegoating with Jorginho. Yes, he did come off the bench and instantly we've conceded, but it's not really his fault like that. Quiet day from Granit. And I do think again, I'm not saying Benjamin White should be dropped, but I do think there's a legit question to bring in Tomiyasu when we play at home against Brentford. I still think it shows a young team transitioning to that elite level of optimum consistency and level of performance, because we didn't do that yesterday. And sometimes you just have to get the job done. It still shows we can beat. It's meant to say beat. We can beat a press very easily. But as you saw, you know, Everton were pressing us. They were solid in the middle. We were getting past the press. But when we had the ball, it's not bringing our midfielders or attackers in. So cool, you know, we're looking fancy, but we're not really doing that much, really and truly. We need to find better ways of connecting defense and attack better, really, and especially in the final third. As I said, you kill our wingers, you kill us. Saka has 2-3 man against him. Martinelli's not got consistent runners, or he hasn't really got that level of variety in his game, even though he is trying. So he does become a bit predictable. I do think we've improved a lot since the start of the season defensively, but we're still conceding cheap goals, as you saw yesterday, in my opinion. Didn't have to go like that. And again, I'd throw in, for me, the cheapest goals, I'd say Leicester at home. Obviously, there's been a couple brain farts throughout the season, but I'd say Leicester at home, the goals against United and the one yesterday, both games against Man United, actually, because terrific from Rashford. We've given that to him in the basis of we've given the ball away. We didn't heed our lessons at Old Trafford. Obviously, it's 2 Premier League games in a row we've conceded from a set piece, really. So a bit like bosses, you either concede none or 2 come at the same time. For me, we failed to knock the confidence of a team fighting relegation. We're giving them faith in Sean Dyche's tactics and being able to overcome their season. That was something we moved away from, but that is something that was there. I do like the fact that we were very much more passionate whether we win or lose or draw, but I did think towards the end of the game, when it became abundantly clear we've lost the game, I do think, we could have kept our discipline. Easier said than done. Ultimately, we need to be more efficient and effective in the final third in terms of creating and scoring, because we barely. Off the top of my head, I remember Eddie Nketiah tried to smash it to the near post. Probably should have went across the keeper. He should have done better for that. He's then laid Odegaard, and the form Odegaard's in, he probably should score. He didn't. And really, what did Pickford have to do? The most you saw from Pickford is line that Eddie Nketiah has touched him and rolling around. Damn T-Rex twat. But anyways, away from that. So like I said, we could ultimately be more efficient and effective in the final third. I do think we struggled on the transitions, people. Ultimately, football's decided in both boxes. The majority of the talking points is in the middle of the park. Onana was running rings around us, but we failed to put the ball in the back of the net in their box. We didn't defend good enough in it. So ultimately, people, I think that's why we kind of found ourselves in that scenario. And even times when we've won games, them things there have been there, people. So it kind of is what it is. I want to see what Mikel Arteta is also saying about such people. Jorginho scapegoating is bad. He ain't fault. Just not a player to bring on when you're losing. Though need someone to overlap for Saka, but need to learn from this game. And I think our attacking players are far too deep. I agree that Martinelli needs to come off the bench for Trossard to start next game. Tomiyasu in for White. Ben White looks like he's been struggling a bit. Physically, looks like there's an issue. Eddie yesterday was better than Haaland today. I hear that, but it's irrelevant because both teams lost. And as good as Haaland is, or whatever about Eddie, I only care about Eddie's performance. But if your midfield's not in the game, if you're not creating chances, then Eddie's not really going to do much. But he could have done better than with what he had. I already saw that in relation to Jesus. But Mikel Arteta has said, people, obviously we knew what time it was against Tarkowski, Dwight McNeil, two Burnley players, former Burnley players and a former Burnley gaffer. We knew what time it was, people, 60th minute. Arteta said, we need to digest this one because it is important to digest, look in the mirror, and on Monday come into the training ground ready for a fight because Brentford will be tough. Amen. We can't feel sorry for ourselves. Now it's time to love the players more than today before and month before because they fully deserve it. It will be next to them and prepare for Saturday. Scrolling down, Mikel Arteta said, the reality is that we should have done more to win the game. We put ourselves in many situations and we had to defend so many set pieces. And against this team, it's a very difficult thing to do. Then in terms of our possession, we opened them up in many, many situations and we got into the final third in great positions and we didn't finish well enough. Amen. They work on set pieces every single day and are really good at it. We have experience with Burnley in that type of situation and we have to prevent that happening. And we have to do the basics in defending really well against this team. And we came up short in that. Yeah. And I would also say sometimes, the radars are wrong. We're struggling to play, 5-yard passes. We're giving the ball away needlessly. You don't look after the ball, you're in trouble in this league, people. Facts from the gaffer. We still had a lot of time to react to that, and we generated some situations, but especially in the final 15 minutes, emotionally, we didn't manage the game well enough. No, we didn't. We lost our heads. We could see the too many free kicks that stopped the game every 30, 40 seconds, and we couldn't get back in the game. In the end, it's about the last 20 minutes and what do you do? There, I think we lack something to win, like a lot of games this season, but we'll work on that. You can't always do it, but the gaffer didn't tell no lies there. Mikel Arteta striker Eddie's also been speaking, people, and he said it was a difficult game. They made it really tough, very tough. Personally, we weren't at the standards we needed to be at today, and we've got to improve and make sure we bounce back in our next game. Credit to them. They put out a good game plan and executed it well today. I felt like we just didn't execute ours to the best of our ability. We were sloppy at times. Facts. These games happen. It's a long season and everything's not always going to go your way, and we know that. Facts, man. He said, everyone's disappointed, of course. We want to win every game, especially for the fans traveling who come to support us. We wanted to give them all 3 points, but unfortunately, we couldn't do that. I think their support all year has been excellent. It's not an easy place to come to and travel up here, so we're grateful for them. Hopefully, we can reward them with 3 points on Saturday. Hopefully, we react, man. Not everything is going to go your way, especially when you're pushing and trying to achieve great things. So the togetherness we've got here alongside the fan support, we're going to bounce back, and I know we're going to get a good result on the weekend. I don't know any of that, but I hope so, people. Arsenal in the Premier League this season, 20 games played, 16 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. We've scored 45 goals. We've conceded 17. We've got a plus 28 goal difference. We've only dropped 10 points, as said. Got 50 out of 60 points. And I didn't know he's in first place. We're firmly in charge of qualifying for Champions League. So it could always be better, man. And as much as we've been great, if the season does come to fine margins, which you're seeing, whether you're challenging for the league, for the Europa, for the champs, to stay in the division, a mid-table finish, them 10 points would help us, especially if we did beat Everton. Hindsight's wonderful, isn't it? In the same way, City are probably sitting there saying, boy, you could have made some ground on Arsenal, really. We're going to have to make it count, but we can only deal with the reality of the situation. And again, a bit like travelling to St. Mary's in Southampton and Old Trafford in Man United, we know Goodison Park's not a nice ground for us to go to. Who knows? Arteta might be just helping out his former team now I'm playing. But our record away to Everton in the Premier League in recent seasons, obviously, we lost 1-0 yesterday. We lost 2-1 last season. Season before that, we also lost 2-1. We then drew in 2019-20. Obviously, in 18-19, they beat us 1-0. And you'd have to go back to 2017-18 when we last won, which, again, 5-2 thriller. Right. So we've only kept one clean sheet in the last 3-6 years. Like, yeah, man, we're going to have to patent that one, but they got us there. So, yeah, that's that in that regards, people. I don't know why I got that twice, but that's that. That's that. Where's the full talks from Mikel Arteta, man? On our players not being at their best today, I think Everton were really good, and we have to congratulate them first for the way they have turned things around. I think they won the game because they were really efficient. From our side, we're disappointed because obviously we didn't get the result that we wanted, but the performance doesn't reflect what we've been doing, especially in two phases. Once when we were really direct and we struggled to control that type of game and get back on track and the game we wanted to play. Then with the amount of open situations that we generated in the final third, that has to finish with goals or clear-cut chances much more than we did today. He then said the crowd, I mean, the crowd is always going to be something in the Premier League, but we've gone, whether we've won or lost away from home, we've done well. Against United, their crowd made noise, they beat us, but I don't think the crowd had us shook. Brighton, we managed that. Wolves, we managed that. Leeds was probably the toughest away game for me. We did what we needed to do. Palace and Brentford, the same. There's, I'm probably missing out one. There's enough for Brighton, if I haven't said that. There's plenty. Sorry for hitting the mic. Stamford Bridge as well. So, cool. We didn't do that. And we can't control the energy that they can have. I mean, the fans got onto the ref. Every call that the fans were making, the ref was giving, which we should do the same. I was certain that the energy was going to be exact how it's been today. The thing is, what we can do in the game to try and keep us as quiet as possible and try to generate their frustration that we could generate as well. There are moments where we managed to do that, and there are moments when we just gave them the opportunity to get to that stage. On our players showing emotional composure. No, the last 12, 15 minutes, especially after we made changes, we started to give away a lot of free kicks. I think Arteta, because of taking off part, I think you've got to take responsibility for the balance as well in that regard. And a lot of rash decisions that obviously is exactly what they wanted. Slow the game down, do everything really loud, play the ball into your last line, start to get set plays, and they don't play a lot. We haven't managed, apologies, we haven't managed that well enough. On if the pressure of the situation got to the team, not really. We were just poor against Everton. I don't think so. We've played a lot of games already this season like that, but credit to them. This is what they train for every single day, and you must adapt to that. You have to do the basics, especially in defending. You need to do really well to get your control right to play. And for the moments we did it, and in others, we didn't do it well enough to get more from the game. On what he wants the team to do in the next game, people, I want the team to know how much I love them. I love them so much more now than 3 hours ago, a week ago, a month ago, 3 months ago. It's very easy to be next to the players when they're winning and performing. This is the moment I love my players more, the staff more, and now we stick together. Siege mentality setting, smash the like button, people. This journey is going to be difficult and challenging. There's going to be bigger stones in the middle that we're going to have to overcome that. And now we're going to prepare really well in the week to get to Saturday in the right emotional level and right spirit to be perfect. On how to stop one loss from turning into more, you can try a lot of things on the pitch to try and deserve the win. He then said the best way to do it is to understand who we are, why we've gotten to where we are, and then to start to do all the basics right, play the way we want to play, and how to do it better individually and collectively. Then you'll earn the right to win games. He then finally said, you have to give credit to Sean Dice, and the team at Everton, because it's one thing saying it and another doing it. And I think they did really well today, which was obviously yesterday. So, yeah, man, the better men won. We were completely outclassed. It hasn't happened too many times this season, but you have to hold your hands up sometimes in life, really and truly, and say they were the better team, which they were because they got the 3 points. Arsenal don't know who was at fault for the corner, but Everton deserved their W. Yes, Arteta was class with that stuff. He was like, it's easy to show love after win. Amen. But today I told them, you're right, Jay, man. What else have we got? Well, you praise for Mikel Arteta, and we are at home. I don't buy Matoma, 35 million, be more like 50, and need to get a 6 and an 8 and a right back if we can. Get a different type of what we need to think is you have to beat the games what we've got beat, huh? And try to get things in the top 6 games. Have to face Liverpool, City twice, and Chelsea. Just got to see how Arsenal react in pressure. And also, you've still got to go to St James's Park, which is not easy at all by any stretch of the imagination, people. Anyone that's under the illusion that is an easy game is smoking something very serious, people. Jay, chill out with that, man. I don't know what you're doing. We don't play them schemes there. But anyways, all inclusive. I won't celebrate the Spuds winning, but I'm happy City lost. I hear that. Nah, man, top 4 is done. If we drop to 5th from here, I'm making my own YouTube. But I don't know, man. And when it's mathematically confirmed is when I'll believe. As unrealistic as it might look that we're not going to get Champions League football next year, can't count chickens for their hatch. Dynamics can change very quickly. Everything looked off yesterday. Couldn't pass, slow, sideways passing, couldn't handle the physical battle, looked shaky from corners, can't understand it. We just weren't good enough. We know what Brentford will do. 3-5-2 formation, pack out the midfield, long throw-ins, and play up to Tony quickly down the channels. We need to be ready for the battle because it will be one, especially set pieces. And you know, Ivan Toney's probably got his Twitter stuff in his bio already prepared to draw us out. And I'm pretty sure our centre-back Gabriel does. Haaland, you're going to look really frustrated. Apparently, he didn't have a touch in Spurs' box. Wouldn't you be as frustrated if he was a striker? Smash the likes, people. Yeah, we definitely need 2 or 3 midfielders in the summer, 6 and an 8. I agree. Yeah, DG, we got difficult matches. City home, away, Chelsea home, Newcastle, and Liverpool with Diaz is tough. But we're just going to have to get on with it. Everyone's got to play everyone, innit? So we're going to have to, man. A little drop of water there. Struggling, man. I think I'm getting ill. Keeping calm till game week 38. Took about 2 games for it to fall apart last season. I hear that. We just have to keep going, man, really. But I think you do sign up for certain results. Like, I smashed the like button, 55 likes. I do think you sign up for certain things, like Man United defeat with no real significant midfield options. No real 6. El Nene's out. Partey came off for whatever reason, whether Mikel Arteta felt that was the best option. When you don't have certain personnel in your team, you sign up for that, man. And, you know, the modern game right now is physically imposing the midfielders. You know, it's never been more about athleticism in the middle of the park. You know, I can't lie. I was watching the game yesterday, and obviously Onana, where he absolutely, I thought Rashford's skill against Partey was good. But, you know, 2 games in the Prem in a row, Partey's been done dirty. Like, Onana did some roulette, and it's like Arteta hooked him. I did somewhat think, what put us off buying this Onana, brother? Obviously, 50 million, whether that's enough or not, I don't know. But we wanted him at Lille. There was rumours in Jan. He made it clear he didn't want to leave Everton, or maybe it's just paper talk for us. But one did wonder why, you know, we could have done with that. He's in his early 20s. He's got the physical profile. What I was watching him at Goodison Park yesterday and thinking, oof, that it would have been nice, especially if Arteta wants to take off Partey and then he is injured, or God forbid both of them are injured, because we are lacking. Clearly, that allegedly that Kyrgios brother can play in midfield, you know, as he did. But everything you hear coming out of Arsenal when his agent talking, he keeps saying left-sided centre-back, left-sided centre-back, left-sided centre-back. So while he can do a job there, I'm pretty sure Benjamin White could as well. Gonna have to plug a gap, really. I do kind of want to see Zinchenko in properly in midfield as well at some point to a degree. Onana was, speaking of it, Onana was playing for an Arsenal summer transfer. He dominated. We completely lost the physical battle when Partey came off. Jorginho's lack of physicality is worrying, but that's for us to know the player, innit? At 31 years of age, we signed him for his experience and to help him with our momentum. That's for us to know the player. And also, I just think we kind of lose our heads. Like Sunday League, how many times have you seen a manager make several changes and it all goes down the pot a bit? You know, I think we, in terms of the obvious physicality that Partey possesses, I think we lost the positional sense. And it's not just him, because Partey could have been there. I think several players lost their discipline. We stopped doing the basics. We got caught too much on the counter, in my opinion. Even Zinchenko is the man of the match from an Arsenal perspective. If you want a man of the match when you've lost, you know, he's lost it. You lose your discipline. The pain of discipline hurts a lot less than the pain of regret, because we can't go back in time against Everton. The minute we've conceded that goal, like we've done in previous seasons, previous games this season, it's say, you know what, all right, cool, we're moving mad, let's go again. But we didn't quite do that, really. I think there was a lot of similarities, if I'm completely honest, between Spurs beating City and Everton beating us today, really. Well, yesterday, people. So it's an interesting one. Keep your talking points coming, man. But to be honest, like Gary said, you know what Brentford are on, you know what Man City are on as well. It's not like they're you know, no, there's no secrets in the Premier League. So we're just gonna have to keep going, man. You ain't Mr. Matoma talk yet, man. DG, I love Arteta, but he made the wrong sub yesterday that made it a cheap goal for Tarkowski. What I'd have to go and watch again is the build up to that corner, but set pieces we have looked shaky. Saliba was the only one from the barrage of corners we had yesterday. He's the only one I thought, all right, cool, you're doing the thing. But apart from that, we looked a bit shaky. At the end of the day, we were completely outclassed, really. You know, our eyes told us we weren't good enough. Considering where Everton are at this moment, 12 shots to our 15. They had 4 shots on target. We had 3. So neither team was as clinical as they potentially could be. Everton definitely could have more goals. But in terms of who was more clinical than the other, Everton were. Possession, as shown today against City, possession is 9/10 of the game and 9/10 of the law, but it's what you do with it. We had 71% of it. We didn't do nothing with it. They had 29%. We made 639 passes to their 252. We didn't do much with it. We had 5 corners. They had 7. We're actually set piece FC of our own. We've kind of gone off the ball there. We didn't do nothing with it. So we lost to the better team. No shame in that. Reaction. Setbacks happen. React, because it starts looking a bit brazy if you don't get full points against Brentford. It makes it a very juicy talking point and encounter, obviously, for the following week where we play Man City, where for the second season in a row, Pep's rolled over for Spurs. So it's about time you owe us, man. Oh, I'm good. Great, man. Not enough shots on target, not enough shots in total. But again, for me, it's what did we make? Forget the shots and the statistics. What did we make Pickford do? Pickford never looked in trouble. And there were a couple times Everton players under no pressure, they were doing silly things, baggy touches, slicing at the ball. We didn't work Pickford. Same way City didn't work Hugo Lloris today. We didn't work him. If you've got a team that can't keep clean sheets, take shots. So we're just going to have to hold that one, man. City played a bit better than us and Spurs counted a bit better than Everton. Today was a worse defensive match, but a better offensive one. I don't know about all of that. All I said is I think there's similarities between how both teams won and how both teams lost. Filling the second half against Spurs, they could have scored some more. And I definitely think we should have. I actually think we're quite lucky that we only lost that game 1-0, bro. I think we're very fortunate because I think Everton should have packed us in the first half. Dominic Calvert-Lewin had some good chances. The only positives for me, I really liked Zinchenko. I think Saliba did well. And I think Gabriel did well against Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I know in today's day and age, if a centre-half has a good game, the striker didn't.